Swaraj is my birthright, and I shall have it. Freedom is my birthright. I must have it. The problem is not the lack of resources or capability, but the lack of will. If God is put up with untouchability, I will not call him God. It may be Providence's will that the cause I represent may prosper more by my suffering than by my remaining free. The geologist takes up the history of the earth at the point where the archaeologist leaves it and carries it further back into remote antiquity. Religion and practical life are not different. To take sannyas, renunciation, is not to abandon life. The real spirit is to make the country, your family, and work together instead of working only for your own. The step beyond is to serve humanity, and the next step is to serve God. The most practical teaching of the Gita, and done for which it is of abiding interest and value to the men of the world with whom life is a series of struggles, is not to give way to any morbid sentimentality when duty demands sternness and the boldness to face terrible things. If we trace the history of any nation backwards into the past, we come at last to a period of myths and traditions which eventually fade away into impenetrable darkness. Life is all about a card game. Selecting the right card is not in our hand. But playing well with the cards in hand determines our success. Progress is implied in independence. Without self-government neither industrial progress is possible, nor the educational scheme will be useful to the nation. To make efforts for India's freedom is more important than social reforms. It may be Providence's will that the cause I represent may prosper more by my suffering than by my remaining free. If we trace the history of any nation backwards into the past, we come at last to a period of myths and traditions which eventually fade away into impenetrable darkness. Our nation is like a tree of which the original trunk is Swarajya and the branches are Swadeshi and boycott. To be successful, you need family and friends, but, to be very successful, you need enemies and competitors. It is true that the lack of rain causes hunger, but it is also true that people in India do not have the strength to fight evil. Swadeshi and Swadeshi will be our cry forever, and by this, we will grow in spite of the wishes of the ruler. The compilation of hymns into Sanhitas also appears to be a work of the early part of this period.